Good evening, I'm Mandy Hendrickson. Tonight I'm going to speak with you about managing creative types. Creatives are very vital to most organizations. When you think about creative teams, they are responsible for the branding of a company and the side of the company that the consumer sees. And so normally what will happen is a company will go to the creative team and they'll say, we want to relay this message to the public. This is who we want to be. And they give this problem to the creative department and leave it up to them to come up with a solution. So that is why the creative team is so important in the business world. Now, to understand, to lead the creative team, you must understand their personality, what motivates them, what inspires greatness, what provokes them or shuts down the workflow. These are things that, as a manager, you need to know about each creative in the department. Understand that creatives often contradict themselves in their actions. One moment they're arrogant and sensitive and unreasonable and enthusiastic. So they're all these things just rolled up into one, and it's just their personality and who they are. They're also very defiant, and they don't like to play by the rules. They don't like to be given a lot of rules. And so as a creative manager, one must be willing to explain, here are the rules, here are why we have these rules, here are the reasons. And a lot of times there'll still be somebody that hits the wall that wants to know why it's this way. They don't like it that way. Here's a better way. It should be done this way. So a creative manager would do good by listening to the input from the artists and consider it when making the decision, because oftentimes a compromise can happen that will actually be a better solution to the problem than the decision that was made without the creative type. So always keep that option open. Don't go in with just a closed-minded, this is how it's going to be. And this doesn't just work for creative types. This actually works in any type of management, as if you allow the employee to be empowered, they'll take more pride in their work and they'll be more apt to follow the rules. And you won't always be able to allow that, but anytime you can, it's a good idea. Artists are driven by their passion, and they need someone that can help them stay on track, because they do get lost in their work and they become consumed by it. And so if it's a project that they love, they can spend hours and days on it just trying to perfect something that in their mind will never be perfect. They can't settle for perfection. So oftentimes the manager will have to step up and say, hey, your deadline's coming up, you're going to have to wrap it up. And so it's just part of who they are, and so that's what they need from a leader. They're not really the organized type. So anything that a leader can do to help them stay organized, to stay on track, to make a list of here's what you need to do and in what order. Usually creative types, you give them a project and they'll do the first 25%, but they're going to stay the last 75% for the right into before deadline. And it's just the way, again, that they work. They'll have the idea in the back of their mind. They may even sketch it out and have a few ideas, but to actually implement the ideas, they're going to push that against their deadline. So it's always a good idea to have that padding time in there for them to play with. Because creatives are sensitive and they're very passionate about their work, it's important that you handle any criticism, even if it's constructive criticism, with kid gloves and any sort of negative connotation that they take on their work, or that anyone's given on their work, or they pull their work apart, is going to shut them down. And so a lot of times managing creatives is more like coaching a team. You just got to embrace them and all of their quirks and their different personalities, and you just have to work together, because even within the creative department you have different personalities. And learn their preferred method of communication. Nothing can shut them down or get them off track like interrupting them in the middle of something very important, or what they consider a zone. They get zoned in on it, and then you've interrupted them with an email or a phone call, or you walked up to their desk and now they're completely sidetracked. And so you might then, a leader will have to get them back on track. And so it can be very, very hard and challenging to lead a creative team, but the rewards are great. And once you get a team that meshes well together and that works well together and they're on track, great things can be accomplished by that. So it can be such a rewarding if you're up to the challenge.